voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me.
You can see how they incorporated into the offense. Antonio Brown, ball of the end zone for the Steelers touchdown.
This has kind of been like a flip of the switch. In the backfield, Lynch still on the sidelines, and Wilson throws, and that's caught. Touchdown, Doug Baldwin. And the Seahawks, who were down 10-0 early.
Bringing pressure. Porter steps up. Robinson, he's got it. Touchdown,
on the other side of the slot, who he's responsible if they bring somebody off the edge, so really sets the protection when you make that call.
Second and 10, good explanation. Edelman, and he dives to the pylon. Count it, touchdown. 22-yard touchdown pass. Brady to Edelman.
You see all the action away, and Julian Edelman, he comes out, he's just under control.
They talk to me.
All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Fantasy Life. I'm, as always, the big AC Value right here. 401 Cruise, you can see right there. We're here. It's week 3. I hope none of you are hitting the panic button like I may want to. A lot of stuff have been happening. A lot of NFL players just dropping out of nowhere. A lot of injuries. We're going to talk a little bit more about it. Also, we cashed in the Millionaire Maker. Just a min cash. We risked 40, only got back 25. But hey, we got that cash. Some of our lineups did do well. The Drew Brees one really did not the result we were hoping for. Drew Brees, Brandon Coleman, just where were you? Drew Brees, another guy out for a while. We started off hot in the Millionaire Maker though, right? AJ Green, Tevin Coleman, Andy Dolan. I mean, Tevin Coleman, AJ Green. It was a fantastic start, but didn't quite get the outcome we're looking for. But hey, we did get some return of our investment, so we're going to move on forward. As you can see right here, in Draft Kings, we're at 171 for the bankroll. We're going to do, again, 2 Millionaire Maker lineups that we'll talk a little bit more at the end. Let's talk about my hits and misses for week number 2. My first miss, Owen Daniels. Where were you, bro? Are you kidding me? 3 catches, 19 yards, just absolutely dreadful. What's the point? You get one more week, bro, and that's it. I've been talking you up so much. Completely letting me down. You get one more week, and that's it. And then I'm dropping the ball on you. They even threw a touchdown to Virgil Green. Just complete kick in the nuts, right? Just, you kidding me right there? And then I told everyone to sit D'Angelo Williams. I was preaching it all day long. Sit D'Angelo Williams. The guy had 3 touchdowns. I got to admit, though, with what he did on the ground, 20 carries, 77 yards. He had less than 4 yards per carry. I mean, yeah, he made the most with the carries when he had him inside the goal line. But it's not like he had a lot of yards per carry. It's not like he busted off a big one for a touchdown. He just, he did his job at the goal line. Take away those goal lines, it really was kind of nothing. But yeah, he did end up having a fantastic game. Great sign, though, for Lev Bell owners. You finally get to start your Lev Bell this week. Steelers just look like a dynamite offense. Really loving them. Really loving Lev Bell, too. He might make it into my daily lineups this week. Let's talk. I did have some hits. Terrence Williams, I told him that he was my #1 pickup, waiver wire pickup of the week. 4 catches, 84 yards, and a touchdown. He looks like the #1 target in Dallas. The first and last option, it seems like. Romo going down, Brandon Weeden coming in, and he actually did somewhat formidable. So, again, Whedon, not so much fantasy value. Terrence Williams, I do like him going forward. And I told you to bench Joik Bell, and he was dreadful. 2 catches, 16 yards, 4 rushes, 2 yards. God-awful. Don't like Joik Bell going forward, that's for sure. If it's ever a time for Amir Abdullah to come forward and take that job, this is the time. Probably won't be this week, though. Tough matchup in Denver. Let's talk about the waiver wire pickups of the week, though. My waiver wire pickups of the week. #1 on my list, James Starks. You gotta get him. Hands down my #1 pick of the week. A banged up Eddie Lacy. Starks came in, rushed 20 times, 95 yards, 4 catches for 11. He's a must pick up. And like I talked about last week in regards to James Jones, you want a piece of that Green Bay offense. This is a guy that can come in and start for you right away. James Starks, boom. While Eddie Lacy's not on the field, you got to get that James Starks. I think he's even better pass catcher than Eddie Lacy is. So yeah, liking James Starks this week. KC is a tough matchup. They do have Kansas City, but again, you can't not start the starting running back in Green Bay. So James Starks, if you're the guy, you got to go for him. He might also make my way into my daily lineups as well. #2 on my list, Matt Jones. This is a guy who just kind of came out of nowhere. I liked him a little bit preseason. Didn't get him on any of my teams, unfortunately. He had 19 rushes, 123 yards, got pay dirt twice. And that's against a tough Rams D. He also had 3 catches for 23 yards. It could be a 50-50 time split between him and Alfred Morris. I'm an Alfred Morris owner in some of my leagues too, and that doesn't make me happy. This Matt Jones guy, he seems to look like the real deal. He even fumbled, and they still just gave him more carries. So it's a clear sign the coaching staff does have faith in Matt Jones. He's the younger guy. His stock's on the rise. I'm liking him a lot going forward, and they have a great matchup this week against the Giants. So that could absolutely be a shutout, liking Matt Jones as my #2 pick of the week. And last on this list is Dion Lewis. No relation to Deion Sanders. Let's just put it this way. He was supposed to struggle against Buffalo. This was supposed to be a game where he was definitely going to struggle, and he did nothing but excel. He had 7 rushes for 40 yards and a touchdown, but more impressively, he had 6 catches for 98 yards. This is the Shane Vereen that the Patriots were looking to replace and get. This could be that guy, that receiving running back that they desperately need. We knew it was going to be some running back week to week. We knew they were going to eventually find the guy. It could be Dion Lewis. I think it's going to be. He's definitely worth a waiver wire pickup. Be wary, though. We know what Bellatrix is all about. Bill Belichick. He starts one guy one week. It could be LeGarry Blount show the next week. You never know. It's so frustrating wondering what's going to go happen with the New England Patriots. But, again, I think this Dion Lewis guy is going to be a passing back no matter what. I think who they start at running back, LeGarry Blount or whatnot, James White, you don't know. But I think Dion Lewis is going to have a role no matter what. So yeah, I think Dion Lewis is definitely worth a waiver wire pickup. You could even start him this week. I like him as a start against the Jaguars. Could get an extended role. So yeah, that's my waiver wire pickups of the week. You may have noticed I didn't tell you to pick up Travis Benjamin, and he had a big game. He had a return for a touchdown and 2 touchdowns in the air. One quick stat about Travis Benjamin that I'm telling everyone. I get a lot of questions. Hey, who should I pick up, James Starks or Travis Benjamin? No brainer, James Starks. I'm not even remotely eyeing Travis Benjamin. Maybe in all-purpose yards leagues because he does have the return game. But in regards to just regular half PPR, full PPR leagues, I don't care about Travis Benjamin. He's the team's 3rd or 4th receiver. He was on the field for 9 passing plays. Yeah, 2 of them, he took it to the house for touchdowns. But 9 passing plays. That is it. Okay, this is a fluke game. Don't freak out. Travis Benjamin's not the next Odell Beckham, all right? Let's calm down. Relax, okay? We're not wasting a waiver pick on Travis Benjamin. Forget about it, all right? Not caring about Travis Benjamin. Let's talk about my stardom and situm for week #3. My #1 start is Allen Robinson against the New England Patriots. So I could expect him fully to have a huge game. It seems like any receiver, running back, seem to be doing well against the New England Patriots because it ends up turning to be a shootout. He had 6 catches last week, 155 yards, 2 touchdowns against a tough Miami defense. He is the clear-cut best offensive option in Jacksonville. And like I said, Patriots have been making everyone look like an all-star in the offensive. So I'm liking Allen Robinson a lot. He is a lock for double digits this week. He is also the garbage time master. Don't forget, Allen Robinson in the past just loves that garbage time, and there could be a lot of garbage time in this New England game. The score could get out of control, and they could just, get the garbage time touches. So that's what you want from Allen Robinson. He's a must start for me. Also, as a must start is Kendall Wright against Indy. Anyone who watched Monday Night Football knows about the Indy secondary. It is dreadful. They made Eric Decker look like an all-star. And I know I've been talking a lot about Kendall Wright. I know I talk about him at nonstop. But like I said, Indy just struggles. I mean, Mariota seems to be doing better and better each week. He had a fantastic week 1 start. He had a pretty solid start last week as well. And he just, again, Kendall Wright's the hands down most reliable option on that team. So I'm liking Kendall Wright in what should be a high-scoring game against Indianapolis. Again, Indianapolis is just an absolute nightmare train wreck of a defense. So I'm starting my Kendall Wright. Absolutely. I'm also starting in the running back department, Isaiah Crowell, the crowbar, against Oakland. Oakland is dreadful against the running backs. Already they've let up 3 touchdowns and over 230 yards on the ground in the 2 games combined to running backs this year. Isaiah Crowell, the only reliable option in Cleveland. Who are they going to rely on? Manziel to throw the ball? Come on. Josh McCown? No way. The crowbar seemed to be the guy. If he gets the goal line touches, he could just be an RB2, absolutely. Definitely starting crowbar in my lineups this week. Guys who I am avoiding and I am sitting at all costs. Number 1 on my list, quarterback Matt Stafford. I mean, I think this guy's super talented, but hey, you're facing Denver. Denver's allowed exactly 0 touchdowns against quarterbacks this year and under 200 yards receiving in the past 2 games. So Stafford will struggle this game, in my opinion. I think Denver will shut them down. And I think it's going to be a relatively low-scoring game for Detroit. I would even bench Stafford for, say, a Marcus Mariota or a Jameis Winston even. I really honestly would. I have no faith in Stafford this week. As a result, I'm also, if you can, avoid Golden Tate and I guess Megatron. I don't know how you bench Megatron, but still. Definitely avoiding Matt Stafford as a borderline start. No way. I'm not starting Matt Stafford this week. Another guy I'm going to be sitting is Roddy White. Roddy White put up a goose egg, scored as many points as I did last week on the NFL football field. Last week he had a great matchup against the Giants and just didn't seem to get much. He got 3 targets, 0 catches. That wide receiver 2 spot seems to be to Leonard Hankerson. It looks like it's not going to be Roddy White. Very tough matchup against the Dallas secondary this week that has only allowed 1 touchdown to receivers this year so far in the past 2 games combined. I'd bench Roddy White for a lot of options, honestly. So, yeah, I wouldn't even put him as a flex play. I really wouldn't. I know Matty Ice just loves slinging the ball. Tevin Coleman's out. But, again, I'm just avoiding Roddy White. Not liking him this game. My defense of the week, all the big names are going to be picked. Seattle, I think Miami is always a good one. My defense of the week, though, is going to be Carolina Panthers against the Saints. No Drew Brees. Looks like he's going to be out for an extended period of time. The Saints have looked awful, and I was so big on the Saints offense this year. Carolina's home. They always play tough at home, especially in an in-division game. Watch them to just blitz all night. I just don't think the Saints are really going to put up good offensive numbers, and Carolina could just absolutely destroy them. It could be just an absolute bloodbath in regards to the score. Carolina defense, if you need a desperation defense, I don't even think they're really a desperation defense. They're always solid every year, but they seem to be available in a decent amount of fantasy football leagues. So I'd go Carolina or buy them on DraftKings as well. Couple of trade questions I've been getting. Number 1, is Dez Bryant worth a roster stash for the 10 to 12 weeks he may be out? If you do not have an IR spot, you're in an awful league. Your commissioner needs to have an injured reserve spot on your roster. If your players get out like Arian Foster, etc., Tony Romo, you need to be able to slide that player in your injured reserve spot. So if you can, your commissioner doesn't have one, talk to him. Tell him the benefits of having the IR spot. There's literally no negatives of having an IR spot. So if you don't have one, get one. If you have one, then yeah, I would stash Dez Bryant. In leagues where you have somewhat deep rosters, if you have 15-man rosters, it's really, really tough come middle of the season, where you have the bye weeks. It's like that 16, 17, 18 number where really it's like, do I hold on to him? I personally would. I think it's worth it. I think you need that playoff run guy for weeks 12, 13, 14 where he can really just step up and be that monster for you, and he's going to come back hard. I would. I know it's going to be tough. One thing I do suggest, though, if halfway through the season you're just really regretting it, hold on. It would be a complete waste of time to hold him for just 6 weeks only to let him go. All right? And of course, we're only talking about season-long leagues here. In dynasty leagues, etc., obviously you're holding on to Dez Bryant. But in season-long leagues, I think it's worth it. hold on tight, ride the wave out. I know it's going to be tough. You might have some trouble putting up some lineups each and every week, but it's either you dump them now or you hold them for good. And if it's between those two options, I'm holding them for good. So you look like a genius come week 12, week 13. It's worth it. Hold on to Dez Bryant. The other question I got, this was a really good one. Been getting this asked a lot. Buy or sell C.J. Anderson. I love buy or sells. If there ever was a time to get C.J. Anderson, now's the time, right? I mean, look at the guy. He put up, first game, he had 12 rushes for 29 yards, 12 rushes for 27 yards against KC, both against pretty good rush defenses, I will admit. But if there ever was a time, now's the time to get him. You're going to get 75 cents to the dollar for C.J. Anderson. And the one promising sign of the Denver offense is it looked like Peyton Manning was starting to get it click in the second half of that football game. When he was running his offense, his no-huddle offense, he looked dynamite. He looked like the Peyton Manning of old. Yeah, he overthrew a couple of receivers in that game, or underthrew a couple of them as well. He had Emmanuel Sanders absolutely wide open deep, and he overthrew him. But Peyton Manning, I think Kubiak slowly realizing, okay, my offense isn't going to be the most ideal for his type of offense. We need Peyton Manning to run the show. And when that happens, magical things happen, and Peyton Manning loves his running back. After this KC game is a perfect example of when to attack a player like a C.J. Anderson. I would absolutely buy C.J. Anderson going forward. If you can find an owner desperately looking to get rid of him, I'm looking for C.J. Anderson, absolutely. All right, now it's time for the fun stuff. Let's talk about daily football. Loving my daily lineups. We had some with the lines already came out. Put together a couple of rosters like I told you. The roll is at 171 right now. We did have that one min cash. We invested $40, got back 25, so we did lose $15. We're putting it back again in the two $20 leagues this week. Let's see what we got for a lineup. The first one I have at quarterback, Carson Palmer. Liking Carson Palmer a lot this week. I think he's totally worth the price of $6,600. Probably the lowest priced good option in my mind. Running back, I'm going Le'Veon Bell. Coming back after the 2-week suspension, I think he's going to set the world on fire. Matt Jones lit up the Rams. I don't see why Le'Veon Bell can't. I think a must-buy this week is my next guy, James Starks, $3,000. I don't know how you don't get this guy for $3,000. Even if Eddie Lacy even plays like some of the time, that's just ridiculous. And this is a guy who gets all the third down work as well. So James Starks, $3,000, absolutely, and he's probably going to start the whole game as well. So James Starks, no-brainer buy. Julian Edelman at $7,000, the PPR machine. This guy just gets his no matter what. Love him for $7,000. I'm also liking DeAndre Hopkins for $7,400. He struggled last week, but he's facing Tampa this week. They're home. Tampa has an awful secondary. I'm liking DeAndre Hopkins catch a couple of bombs this week. My must start, Allen Robinson. This guy, $5,200, an absolute must start. I think he's going to get all the garbage time work. Liking him a lot. Tyler Eifert, this is a guy who just produces every single week. He's facing Baltimore this week. Dalton seems to look for him a lot in the red zone, liking Tyler Eifert. Kendall Wright, I talked about him earlier, $5,000. I think he's an excellent option for your flex right here. Looking for him to put up a lot. And then the Seahawks, I am paying up for the most expensive defense, $3,400. They're facing Chicago. I think Jimmy Clausen's starting. That's all you need to know. I mean, it's the 12th man in Seattle. They play like a different team. Seattle lost their first 2 games. Watch for them to just bounce back, and this game could get ugly. It could just absolutely get ugly. Liking them a lot. All right, my other lineup that I have this week, Russell Wilson as my quarterback. Now, it's funny because you're going to see a lot of lineups that Patriots in it. So the most common question I'm probably going to get asked is, where's Brady? How come you don't have Brady? The guy has 7 touchdowns in 2 games. You love Brady. I know. I think the rest of the public knows that too. And last week I told you Drew Brees is going to be the most owned quarterback. And what was he? The most owned quarterback. I really regretted starting him, not because of his results, but because he was the most owned quarterback. And like I talked about week 1, I want to avoid guys who I think is going to be the most owned quarterback. And I think Tom Brady is going to literally be the most owned quarterback, if not the most owned, the second most owned quarterback. And I want to fade that because, again, it means so much more if you can get a guy that puts up production and isn't widely owned. And if you are facing a quarterback who is widely owned and he doesn't do well, that is just a double home run for you if you can get that, and increases your chances dramatically if they don't do well. So not that I think Tom Brady is going to fail, but I just want to fade the public. I want to go against what everyone else is doing and increase my chances of getting that big score. So yeah, I'm fading Tom Brady this week, and I'm going Russell Wilson, $7,000. Like I said, I think it could just be an absolute bloodbath in Chicago. I'm liking him a lot. Pairing him with Marshawn Lynch, I'm not always a fan of the quarterback-running back tandem, but hey, Big Ben, as D'Angelo Williams did it last week, right? I mean, it's not impossible. I could totally see them both dominating on the ground. Marshawn Lynch is just an absolute slam dunk, too. I'm always liking him. Deion Lewis for 4,200 against Jacksonville. If it's not done in the air, I think it'll be done on the ground. So that's why I'm kind of hedging my bets there. One lineup going towards Julian Edelman, the other lineup going to Deion Lewis. My sleeper of the week, Kenny Britt for 3,800. Pittsburgh lets up a lot in the air, so I'm liking Kenny Britt this week for 3,800. Antonio Brown, just a monster. He is worth the price of admission. Antonio Brown, I'm talking about him nonstop. Allen Robinson, he's in every single one of my lineups this week, that's for sure. Going Allen Robinson. Gronk, 7,400. People just ask me, should I just pay for Gronk? I think so. I'm never going to say it's a bad idea. He's just the red zone monster. I can't see anyone on Jacksonville stopping that guy inside the 20. So yeah, Gronk there. James Starks, again, talking about it nonstop. $3,000, the absolute minimum for a clear-cut starter. A Green Bay Packers starting running back. No-brainer there. And I'm going with the Patriots. I was between the Patriots and the Panthers for 3,100. I might switch that last minute, but I think Blake Bortles could struggle against the New England, make a lot of mistakes trying to get behind from a huge elite New England Patriot lead. So he could make some mistakes. You see it happen before. Tyrod Taylor made a lot of mistakes against the Patriots. He still had a good statistical game, but the New England Patriots did have a solid defensive special teams game as well. So like the Patriots for 3,100 again, I might switch them for Panthers. Again, my lineups last week, the base of them, the nucleus of them were pretty much the same, but I do a lot of last-minute changes. Devontae Freeman might make it into my lineup. Allen Hurns might make it into my lineup. Darren Sproles might make it into my lineup. So there's a lot of last-second changes, injuries, reports. I'm liking Galvin Escobar a lot. If Jason Witten doesn't play, I might sub him for tight end somewhere as well. So you always got to just keep in track. Watch those injury reports. Watch the guys who start to move up in the projections because of last-minute scratches. You have to look for that. That's just crucial. It's something you have to do in fantasy. You can't marry a lineup and just have to go with it on a Tuesday, Wednesday and say, yep, this is my lineup no matter what. You don't do it in your season-long leagues. Why would you do it in daily? It just doesn't make sense. So there you go. Folks, thanks for watching this week. Let's get that million. Let's get that 2 million, right? Let's go get it. I'm pumped up about these lineups. I'm feeling really good. I think we're going to get a double cash. Let's move up to that second level of cashing. We've improved from week 1 to week 2. We got ourselves a min cash. Let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. Let's keep making that money. I would love to try to get over $200 in my in the bankroll. I would love it. I'm loving the support too, folks. Loving the support. Loving the questions I get each and every day. Really been fantastic. We're averaging over 300 views on every video I've been putting out. So it's all because of you guys. I really appreciate the love. That's going to do it for me on the Fantasy Life. Watch next week. We'll have $1 million in our pocket. I'm going to share it with each and every one of you. I promise. Folks, thanks so much. Good luck in the Fantasy Gridiron. See you next week.
I feel tension.